Some stories are better left in ashes.
The thing about first birthday parties is that nobody cares about the kid. Zoe's sitting in her high chair, smearing chocolate frosting into her hair, while 20 adults get progressively drunker on boxed wine and pretend this chaos means something. I'm Tom Grady, and I should probably be enjoying my daughter's milestone, but instead I'm watching my wife Elise flirt with her business consultant Brandon, while my mother criticizes my choice of paper plates. "Tommy, these are so cheap looking," Mom says, waving a Frozen-themed plate like it personally offended her. "What will people think?" What people think is that we're normal suburban parents who bought party supplies at Target like everyone else. But Evelyn Grady has never been accused of being reasonable. She's 68, lives in a retirement community 20 minutes away, and somehow still manages to make every family gathering about my inadequacies as a man. "They're fine, Mom," I say, refilling the punch bowl for the third time. "Kids don't care about plate quality." "Well, maybe that's your problem right there." I don't ask what she means because I already know. According to my mother, my problems include working in IT instead of something respectable, driving a Honda instead of a truck, and generally failing to live up to whatever masculine ideal she's constructed in her head. The fact that I make decent money as a project manager and actually spend time with my daughter apparently counts for nothing. Elise laughs too loud at something Brandon said, her hand touching his arm. They're standing by the kitchen island, heads bent together like they're sharing state secrets, instead of discussing whatever BS consulting work he supposedly does. Brandon's one of those guys who looks like he stepped out of a protein powder commercial, all white teeth and muscles straining against polo shirts. He's been helping Elise with her PR firm's business strategy for 6 months now, which apparently requires a lot of evening meetings and weekend sessions. My friend Nate appears beside me, beer in hand. "Your wife's about as subtle as a brick through a window," he says, nodding toward the kitchen. "Tell me something I don't know." "Brandon's married." That stops me cold. "What?" "Yeah, found out last week. Wife's name is Natalie. They separated a few months ago, but they're not divorced yet." Nate takes a long pull from his beer. "Thought you should know." I watch Elise throw her head back, laughing at something Brandon whispered. Her cheeks are flushed from wine, her blonde hair catching the afternoon light streaming through our kitchen windows. She looks beautiful and happy and completely unaware that her husband is standing 15 feet away, finally understanding what's been happening in his own house. The party continues around us. Kids run screaming through the living room while their parents pretend to supervise. My neighbor, Mrs. Culpepper, corners anyone who will listen with gossip about the Henderson divorce. Kelly, Elise's best friend and enabler, holds court by the wine table, already 3 glasses deep and getting louder by the minute. "Tom!" Kelly waves me over with the enthusiasm of someone who's forgotten I'm married to her best friend. "Come settle a debate. I'm telling everyone about that yoga retreat Elise went on with your mom." "Wasn't that just the sweetest thing?" My blood turns to ice water. "What yoga retreat?" "Oh, you know, that weekend in Colorado, the spiritual awakening thing." Kelly's words are starting to slur together. "Elise said you were so supportive, letting her go with Evelyn to find herself or whatever." I look across the room at my mother, who's suddenly very interested in helping Zoe with her cake. "When was this?" "Last month, when you were in Chicago for that work thing." Kelly giggles. "Though between you and me, I don't think they did much yoga. Elise came back all glowing and relaxed, if you know what I mean." I know exactly what she means, and it has nothing to do with downward dog poses. The party starts winding down around 4 o'clock. Parents collect their sugar-crashed children in plastic goodie bags while I load the dishwasher and try to process what I've learned. Elise is in the living room, still talking to Brandon while Zoe naps in her bouncy seat. They think they're being discreet, but I can see them in the reflection of our kitchen window. "She's beautiful," Brandon says, and for a second, I think he means Zoe. "She's got Dave's eyes," Elise replies. Dave, her ex-husband who died in a motorcycle accident 3 years ago. The love of her life, according to the stories she told me when we first started dating. The ghost I could never compete with. The perfect dead man who never left dirty dishes or forgot anniversaries or worked late fixing other people's computer problems. "I still can't believe you went through with it," Brandon continues. "Using his sample, I mean. That took guts. Tom has no idea. He thinks she's his." Elise's voice drops to a whisper, but sound carries in our open concept house. The paperwork was easy to forge. He never questioned it, never asked for a paternity test. He's just so grateful someone wanted to have a baby with him. The plate I'm holding slips from my hands and shatters on the kitchen tile. Both of them turn toward the sound, but I'm already moving, grabbing paper towels, playing the clumsy husband cleaning up his mess. "You okay, honey?" Elise calls out. "Fine," I manage. "Just tired." But I'm not fine. I'm standing in my kitchen, surrounded by birthday party debris, learning that my daughter isn't my daughter and my wife thinks I'm pathetic enough to raise another man's child without question. The worst part is, she's right. I never suspected anything. I was just happy that beautiful, confident Elise wanted to build a life with boring, reliable Tom. The last guests finally leave around 6. Brandon lingers, helping Elise clean up while I put Zoe down for the night. When I come back downstairs, they're standing close together by the front door. "I should go," Brandon says, but he doesn't move away from her. "Call me tomorrow," Elise replies. "We still need to discuss the Morrison account." Sure they do. After he leaves, Elise finds me in the kitchen, finishing the dishes. "Great party," she says, wrapping her arms around my waist from behind. "Zoe had such a good time." "Did she?" I ask. "Hard to tell with 1-year-olds. "Oh, come on, don't be such a pessimist." She kisses my neck, and I have to fight not to pull away. "She's lucky to have such a devoted daddy." Devoted daddy. If only she knew how devoted I've been, working extra hours to pay for the bigger house she wanted, the organic food, the expensive daycare. All for a child who shares none of my DNA. "I'm going to bed," I say, untangling myself from her arms. "Long day. I'll be up in a few minutes. Just want to finish cleaning." I know she won't be up in a few minutes. She'll be texting Brandon, making plans for their next business meeting. Maybe she'll call my mother, laughing about how clueless I am, how easy it was to fool the desperate IT guy into playing house. Upstairs, I sit on the edge of our bed and stare at the family photos on the dresser. Elise and me on our wedding day. The 3 of us at the hospital when Zoe was born. Christmas morning, Easter egg hunts, first steps. A whole life built on a lie. I pull out my phone and start typing a text to my lawyer. Then I delete it and start over. Then I delete that too. Instead, I walk down the hall to Zoe's room and watch her sleep. She's beautiful, with dark hair and green eyes that I now realize look nothing like mine. Dave's eyes, just like Elise said. But she's still the little girl I've loved for the past year. I've changed her diapers, walked the floor with her during teething, read her bedtime stories. DNA doesn't erase that, does it? Except it does, legally. I'm not her father. I'm just the guy paying the bills. I go back to our bedroom and quietly pack a bag. Not everything, just enough for a few days. I leave the birth certificate on Elise's nightstand with my name crossed out in red ink. Let her explain that to whoever finds it first. Before I go, I take one last look at Zoe. "I'm sorry, baby girl," I whisper. "Daddy's got to go figure some things out." My phone buzzes as I'm loading my car. A text from Elise. "Where are you? Come back to bed." I turn off my phone and drive away from Briarwood Lane, away from the perfect suburban life that was never really mine. In my rearview mirror, I can see the lights still on in our house, and I wonder how long it'll take her to notice I'm gone. Probably not until she needs someone to take out the trash. The Motel 6 off Highway 94 isn't exactly the Ritz, but it's clean and anonymous, and nobody asks questions when you pay cash. I've been here 3 days, living on vending machine coffee and gas station sandwiches, trying to figure out what the heck to do with my life. My phone has 47 missed calls from Elise and 63 text messages that range from confused to angry to desperate. "Tom, where are you? This isn't funny. Your daughter is asking for you. Whatever you think you heard, we can talk about it. My lawyer says abandonment looks bad in custody cases." That last one made me laugh out loud, which probably isn't a great sign for my mental health. Custody of a child that isn't mine, threatened by a woman who's been lying to me for over a year. The audacity is almost impressive. I finally turn my phone back on and call the one person I trust, Nate Rodriguez. Yes, I know that's not the most American name, but Nate's family has been in Texas longer than most of the white families, and he's got the cowboy hat and attitude to prove it. "Jesus, Tom, where the heck are you?" he answers on the first ring. "Elise is calling everyone, saying you had some kind of breakdown." "Did she mention why I might have had a breakdown?" "Something about work stress and midlife crisis, BS. But knowing you, I'm guessing it has more to do with her boy toy Brandon." I tell him everything. The conversation I overheard, the forged paternity papers, the yoga retreat that wasn't. Nate listens without interrupting, which is unusual for him. Son of a witch, he says when I'm finished. I mean, I knew she was cheating, but the baby thing, that's next level crazy. I need a lawyer. I know a guy, divorce attorney, real shark. But Tom, you sure you want to go nuclear? Maybe you could work something out. Keep seeing Zoe. She's not my kid, Nate. She's been your kid for a year. That's got to count for something. Maybe it does, but right now I'm too angry to think about what's best for Zoe. All I can think about is how stupid I've been. How everyone probably knew except me. My wife, my mother, probably half the neighborhood. The lawyer's name is Richard Karp, and his office looks like something out of a legal thriller. Dark wood, leather chairs, diplomas covering every wall. He's about 60, with gray hair and the kind of calm demeanor that comes from handling other people's disasters for 30 years. Paternity fraud, he says after I explain the situation. It's not common, but it's not unheard of either. The question is, what do you want to accomplish? I want out, clean break, no alimony, no child support, nothing. And the house? It's in both our names, but I made the down payment. I want my equity back. Karp nods and makes notes on a yellow legal pad. We'll need to establish that fraud occurred. Did you record the conversation you overheard? No. Any other evidence, emails, text messages, documents? She left the forged paperwork in her desk. I could probably get it. Don't. Karp looks up from his notes. Don't go back to the house. Don't take anything that isn't clearly yours. Don't give her ammunition for a harassment claim. We'll subpoena medical records, demand a paternity test. If the child isn't yours, we can make a case for fraud and get you out of any financial obligations. It sounds so clinical when he puts it that way. Fraud, obligations, financial settlements. Like Zoe is just another asset to be divided up. I'm walking back to my car when my phone rings. Unknown number. Tom, it's Judith, Elise's mother, calling to fix things like she always does. We need to talk. I don't think we do. Elise is beside herself. She made a mistake, but this isn't the way to handle it. Think about Zoe. I am thinking about Zoe. I'm thinking about how she's not my daughter. Biology isn't everything, Tom. You've been her father for a year. That little girl loves you. Did you know? The question comes out harsher than I intended. About Dave's seed? About the fake paperwork? Silence on the other end, which is answer enough. You all knew. My wife, my mother-in-law, probably my own mother. Everyone except the stupid husband paying the bills. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, Judith says quietly. Elise was grieving. She wasn't thinking clearly. When she met you, she was already pregnant, but she didn't know how to tell you. It just got complicated. Complicated. I laugh, but there's no humor in it. That's one word for it. Come home, Tom. We can figure this out as a family. We're not a family. We're strangers who happen to live in the same house. I hang up and sit in my car for a long time, watching normal people go about their normal lives. A young couple pushes a stroller past the parking meter. An old man feeds pigeons on a bench. Everyone else seems to know who they are and where they belong. My phone buzzes with another text from Elise. I know you're angry, but running away won't solve anything. Come home so we can talk like adults. Like adults. Right. Adults don't forge legal documents and lie about paternity. And adults don't spend their husband's money raising another man's child while screwing their business consultant. I drive to Nate's house, a ranch-style place in an older neighborhood where the yards are bigger and the neighbors mind their own business. He's in his garage, working on a motorcycle engine, country music playing from a paint-splattered radio. How'd it go with the lawyer? He asks without looking up. He thinks I've got a case. Paternity fraud, forged documents, the works. And I feel like crap about it. I grab a beer from the mini fridge Nate keeps next to his workbench. That little girl didn't ask for any of this. Neither did you. Yeah, but she's 1 year old. I'm supposed to be the adult here. Nate finally looks up from the engine, grease streaking his forearms. You want some advice? Do I have a choice? Stop thinking like a victim. Elise made her choices. Now you get to make yours. You can either let her keep screwing you over, or you can take control of the situation. Meaning maybe it's time people knew what kind of person they're dealing with. Elise has been playing the worried wife act all over town, telling everyone you abandoned your family. Maybe it's time for the truth to come out. I think about that as I drive back to the motel. Elise has always been good at controlling the narrative, spinning stories to make herself look better. When she quit her last job, it was because her boss was threatened by strong women, not because she got caught padding her expense account. When her sister stopped talking to her, It was because of jealousy, not because Elise slept with her boyfriend. Now, I'm the unstable husband who walked out on his wife and baby. Poor Elise, dealing with a man who couldn't handle the pressures of fatherhood. Except that's not what happened. And maybe it's time people knew the real story. I'm back in my motel room eating Chinese takeout and planning my next move, when someone pounds on the door, heavy, aggressive knocking that makes the cheap wood shake in its frame. "Tom, open up! We need to talk!" Brandon's voice, loud enough to wake the whole motel. I look through the peephole and see him standing there with another guy I don't recognize. Big, muscular, the kind of person you bring when you want to intimidate someone. "Go away, Brandon. We've got nothing to discuss." "The heck we don't. You're making Elise crazy with this disappearing act. She's got a business to run, a kid to take care of. This is BS and you know it." I open the door but keep the chain latch engaged. "Since when is my wife your problem? Since you decided to act like a child instead of handling your responsibilities." The irony is incredible. Brandon, who's been screwing my wife behind my back, lecturing me about responsibility. His friend stands behind him, arms crossed, trying to look menacing. "Here's a thought," I say. "Maybe you should worry about your own wife instead of mine. How's Natalie doing these days?" Brandon's face goes red. "That's none of your business." Funny thing about business, sometimes it becomes everyone's business, especially when it involves fraud and adultery. "You don't know what you're talking about." "I know more than you think. For instance, I know about the yoga retreat that wasn't yoga. I know about your evening business meetings. I know about Dave's seed and forged paperwork." I smile at the shock on his face. Turns out I'm not as stupid as everyone thought. Brandon takes a step back, and I can see him processing what I've said. His friend looks confused, like he signed up for simple intimidation and got complicated family drama instead. "Look, Tom," Brandon says, his voice calmer now. "Maybe we got off on the wrong foot. Elise cares about you. She really does. This whole thing just got out of hand." "Which part got out of hand? The lying, the cheating, or the fraud?" "She was going to tell you eventually." "When? After Zoe graduated college?" Brandon doesn't have an answer for that, which tells me everything I need to know. They never planned to tell me. I was supposed to play the devoted father forever, raising another man's child while my wife screwed around with her personal trainer. "Get off my property," I say, "and tell Elise the next time she wants to send muscle to threaten me, she should pick someone who isn't committing adultery with a married woman." I close the door and listen to them argue in the parking lot before driving away. My hands are shaking, but not from fear. From anger, from adrenaline, from the realization that I'm done being the nice guy who gets walked all over. It's time for Elise and Brandon to learn what happens when you push a quiet man too far. The first sign that Elise has declared war comes in the form of a phone call from my boss, Janet Morrison. It's 8 in the morning, and I'm sitting in a Denny's, eating pancakes and reading news on my phone when she calls. "Tom, we need to talk. Can you come in today? I'm on vacation this week, remember? This can't wait. There's been a complaint filed with HR." My stomach drops. "What kind of complaint?" "The kind we need to discuss in person. Can you be here by 10? Morrison Tech Solutions occupies 2 floors of a glass office building downtown. I've worked here for 6 years, managing software implementations for mid-sized companies. It's boring work, but it pays well and I'm good at it. Or was good at it, before my personal life exploded." Janet's waiting in her office when I arrive. She's 45, divorced, the kind of no-nonsense manager who runs a tight ship and doesn't tolerate drama. The fact that she looks uncomfortable tells me this is serious. "Sit down, Tom." She slides a folder across her desk. "Someone filed a complaint alleging that you've been using company resources for personal business. Specifically, that you've been accessing employee databases to gather information for divorce proceedings." I open the folder and find printed screenshots of database queries, all time-stamped and traced back to my login credentials. The problem is, I didn't run these searches. I haven't even been in the office for a week. "Janet, I didn't do this. Someone's using my account. The IT logs show these searches came from your workstation, using your password, during hours when you were supposedly here working. Check the security cameras. I wasn't here yesterday, or the day before that. The cameras in that section have been malfunctioning. Convenient timing." I study the printouts more carefully. The searches are for personal information on Brandon Holt and several other people connected to my situation. Someone went to a lot of trouble to make it look like I was using company resources to investigate my wife's boyfriend. This is a setup, I say. Someone's trying to get me fired. Who would do that? Good question. Who has access to the building, knows my login information, and wants to destroy my career? The answer is obvious, but proving it won't be easy. I need to see the server logs, I say. The full audit trail, not just these screenshots. Tom, you're suspended pending investigation. You can't access company systems. Then have someone else pull them. Check the IP addresses, the session details. If someone logged in remotely using my credentials, there'll be evidence. Janet makes a note on her pad. I'll have our IT security team look into it. In the meantime, you're on unpaid leave. Don't come back until this is resolved. I drive home to my motel feeling like I've been punched in the gut. Losing my job means losing my health insurance, my steady income, my professional reputation. It also means Elise has escalated this beyond a simple divorce into total warfare. My phone rings as I'm pulling into the motel parking lot. Nate's number. You need to see something, he says without preamble. Meet me at Murphy's Bar. Murphy's is a dive bar on the south side of town, the kind of place where the beer is cheap and nobody asks questions. Nate's waiting in a corner booth with his laptop open and a grim expression on his face. Check this out, he says, turning the screen toward me. It's a Facebook post from Kelly, Elise's best friend. A long, emotional rant about domestic violence and supporting women in crisis. She doesn't mention me by name, but the details are unmistakable. A controlling husband who monitors his wife's activities, threatens her friends, and abandoned his family when confronted about his behavior. There's more, Nate says, scrolling down. Your mother posted something similar on her church's Facebook page, very concerned about her son's mental health, asking for prayers for the family. I read my mother's post with growing disbelief. According to Evelyn Grady, I've been struggling with depression and anger issues for months. My sudden disappearance is a cry for help, and she's asking the congregation to pray for my recovery and return to my family. They're painting you as unstable, Nate says. Dangerous, even. Look at the comments. The comments are brutal. People I've known for years, neighbors and family friends, all expressing concern for poor Elise and her safety. Someone suggests she get a restraining order. Another recommends a good divorce lawyer who specializes in protecting women from controlling husbands. This is insane, I say. I never touched her, never even raised my voice. Doesn't matter. In the court of public opinion, you're already guilty. I think about my suspension from work, the carefully planted evidence, the social media campaign painting me as unstable. This isn't random retaliation. It's coordinated character assassination. Someone's helping her, I say. Elise isn't smart enough to orchestrate all this alone. Brandon? Maybe, or someone else. I close the laptop, my mind racing. They want to destroy my reputation before I can expose theirs. Make me look like the bad guy so nobody believes anything I say. So what are you going to do about it? Good question. I can fight back legally, but that takes time and money I don't have. I can try to defend myself on social media, but that just makes me look defensive and guilty. Or I can play by their rules and see how they like it when the tables are turned. I need information, I say. Real information. Not the gossip and speculation I've been working with. If they want to play dirty, let's see what happens when their secrets come out. What kind of information? The kind that ruins reputations and ends careers? The kind they've been trying to bury? Nate grins. Now you're talking. Where do we start? With Brandon's ex-wife. If anyone knows where the bodies are buried, it's her. Finding Natalie Holt turns out to be easier than expected. She works as a real estate agent for a company across town, and her professional headshot is all over bus stop advertisements. She's attractive in a different way than Elise. Darker hair, more serious expression, the look of someone who's learned not to trust easily. I call her office and make an appointment to look at houses. We meet at a coffee shop near her office, and I can tell she recognizes my name when I introduce myself. You're Tom Grady, she says, settling into the chair across from me. Brandon's mentioned you. I bet he has. What did he say? That you're having a hard time accepting that your marriage is over. She studies my face. But you don't look like someone having a breakdown. You look angry. I am angry. My wife's been lying to me for over a year, and your husband's been helping her do it. Ex-husband, she corrects. And trust me, I know exactly what kind of person Brandon is. Then maybe we can help each other. Natalie orders another coffee and settles back in her chair. What do you want to know? Everything. How long has this been going on, what he's told you, what kind of person I'm dealing with? The affair with your wife started about 8 months ago. Brandon thought he was being discreet, but he's not as smart as he thinks he is. Hotel receipts, credit card charges, the usual stuff cheaters leave behind. Did you know about the baby? That Zoe isn't mine? Natalie's eyes widen. No. Jesus, Tom, I'm sorry. I knew he was involved with a married woman, but I didn't know about the paternity thing. What else can you tell me about him? He's a serial cheater. Your wife isn't his first affair, and she won't be his last. He's got a pattern. Finds vulnerable women, usually clients, and seduces them with the whole personal trainer routine. Makes them feel special, like he really understands them. Vulnerable how? Unhappy marriages, self-esteem issues, life transitions. He's got a sixth sense for women who are looking for something their husbands aren't giving them. That stings, but it's probably accurate. I was working long hours focused on building our financial security instead of paying attention to what Elise needed emotionally. Brandon offered excitement, attention, validation, all the things a busy husband might forget to provide. There's something else, Natalie says. Brandon's been skimming money from his gym. Small amounts, but consistent. He thinks the owner doesn't know, but Big Mike's been building a case against him. Big Mike? Mike Torino owns the gym where Brandon works. Ex-military, doesn't tolerate thieves. He's been waiting for the right moment to fire Brandon and press charges. This is useful information. Brandon's not just an adulterer, he's a thief. That changes the dynamic significantly. Why are you telling me this? I ask. Because Brandon destroyed my life, and I'd like to see him get what's coming to him. Also, because what they're doing to you isn't right. I've seen the Facebook posts, the rumors going around. You don't deserve that. What would it take to prove the theft? Financial records, security footage, maybe testimony from other employees who've seen him skimming. Mike would probably cooperate if he knew it would help nail Brandon. We talk for another hour, and by the time I leave, I have a clearer picture of what I'm up against. Brandon's not just a personal trainer having an affair. He's a career criminal who's been using women and stealing money for years. Elise isn't his first victim, and if I don't stop him, she won't be his last. But first, I need to deal with the character assassination campaign. My reputation is being destroyed while we speak, and every day I don't respond makes me look guiltier. It's time to fight fire with fire. I spend the evening at Nate's house, planning my counterattack. If Elise wants to play the victim on social media, let's see how she handles some uncomfortable truths about her boyfriend's criminal activities. You sure about this? Nate asks as I type up a detailed Facebook post. Once you put this out there, there's no taking it back. They started this war, I say. I'm just finishing it. My post is carefully crafted to sound hurt and confused rather than angry. I explain that I've discovered my wife's affair and learned that my daughter isn't biologically mine. I mention the forged documents, the lies, the systematic deception that's been going on for over a year. I don't attack Elise directly. I just tell the truth and let people draw their own conclusions. Within an hour, the post has 30 comments and dozens of likes. People who were condemning me 12 hours ago are now expressing shock and sympathy. The narrative is shifting, and Elise's victim act is starting to look like manipulation. My phone rings at midnight. Elise, calling from our house. "Take it down," she says without preamble. "Take down that post right now." Why? It's all true. "You're embarrassing, Zoe. She's going to grow up and see this someday." Zoe's going to grow up and learn that her mother is a liar and her biological father is dead. I think my Facebook post is the least of her problems. "Tom, please, we can work this out. Come home and we'll figure something out." "There's nothing to figure out. You made your choices. Now live with the consequences." "I love you," she says, and for a moment she sounds like the woman I married. "I know I screwed up, but I love you. That has to count for something." "It would have counted for everything if you'd been honest from the beginning. Now, it's just another lie." I hang up and turn off my phone. Tomorrow, the real work begins. The call comes at 6 a.m, jolting me awake in my motel bed. Unknown number, but I answer anyway because unknown numbers have been bringing interesting information lately. "Tom, it's Patty. My sister, calling from Denver where she's been living since her divorce 3 years ago. Patty's the smart one in the family, the one who got out of our hometown and built a life that makes sense. She's also the only family member who hasn't chosen sides in this mess." "Hey, Pat." Kind of early for a social call. "Mom's in the hospital. Heart attack sometime last night. They don't know if she's going to make it." The world tilts sideways. Whatever else is happening, Evelyn Grady is still my mother. Which hospital? St. Mary S. Tom, there's something else. She's been asking for you, but Elise is there, and she's telling the staff that you're not allowed to see Mom because you're mentally unstable. She can't do that. She can if Mom signs something giving her medical power of attorney, and apparently she did. I'm dressed and in my car within 10 minutes, driving through empty morning streets toward the hospital. My mother gave Elise power of attorney over her medical decisions. When did that happen? And why wasn't I consulted? The ICU waiting room is crowded with people I recognize, neighbors, church friends, family members who've been avoiding me since the Facebook posts started flying. They look up when I walk in, conversations stopping mid-sentence. Elise is holding court near the nurse's station, playing the role of devoted daughter-in-law. She's dressed in black, her eyes red from crying, accepting condolences and updates from the medical staff. When she sees me, her expression hardens. "You shouldn't be here," she says, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Mom specifically said she didn't want to see you." She's my mother. She's also under sedation and stress. The last thing she needs is you causing a scene. A scene. Like I'm the unstable one, like I'm the problem that needs to be managed. The other people in the waiting room are watching this exchange with fascination, waiting to see which version of Tom Grady shows up, the devoted son or the dangerous husband. "I want to see her," I say calmly. 5 minutes. The answer is no. A nurse approaches us, an older woman with kind eyes and the no-nonsense demeanor of someone who's dealt with family drama before. "Are you Tom?" "Yes." "She's been asking for you. Room 314, but keep it brief. She's very weak." Elise starts to protest, but the nurse cuts her off. "Medical power of attorney doesn't override a patient's right to see their children. She's conscious, and she's asking for her son." I follow the nurse down a hallway that smells like disinfectant and despair. Room 314 is dimly lit, dominated by machines that beep and hum around my mother's small form. She looks older than her 68 years, fragile in a way that makes my chest tight. "Tommy?" Her voice is barely a whisper. "I'm here, Mom." "I'm sorry." Her hand finds mine, surprisingly warm. "About the power of attorney thing. Elise said you were having problems, that you might make bad decisions if something happened to me." "When did you sign it?" "Last month, after the yoga retreat." She closes her eyes, and for a moment I think she's fallen asleep. Then, she showed me pictures. "What pictures?" "Of you with another woman. Said you were having an affair, that you'd been lying to her for months." I believed her. My blood turns to ice. "Mom, I never cheated on Elise. Those pictures were fake. But they looked so real." "Of course they did. Photoshop, digital manipulation, whatever it took to convince my mother that I was the villain in this story." Elise needed an ally, someone with moral authority who could vouch for her character and condemn mine. Who better than my own mother? "She lied to you," I say gently. "About the affair, about everything. I never cheated, Mom." "But she did." My mother's eyes flutter open, focusing on my face with effort. "The baby." "Zoe isn't mine. Elise used her dead husband's seed and forged the paperwork. I've been raising another man's child for a year." "Oh, Tommy." Tears leak from the corners of her eyes. "What have I done?" "You believed someone you trusted. It's not your fault." But part of me thinks it is her fault, at least a little. My mother has always been quick to believe the worst about me, always ready to side with anyone who confirms her opinion that I'm not man enough, not successful enough, not worthy of the life I've built. Elise just gave her an excuse to act on those feelings. "I need to change the power of attorney," she whispers. "Back to you. Rest now. We'll worry about paperwork later. Promise me something. Don't let her keep lying. People need to know the truth." I squeeze her hand. "I promise." When I come back to the waiting room, Elise is gone. Patty's arrived from the airport, looking tired and worried. She hugs me tight, and I realize how much I've missed having family who actually cares about me. "How is she?" Pat asks. "Weak, but lucid. She wants to change the power of attorney back to me." "Good. Elise has been acting like she's in charge of everything. It's weird." We sit together in uncomfortable plastic chairs, drinking terrible coffee and watching the sun rise through the waiting room windows. Other families come and go, dealing with their own crises, their own complicated relationships. "So, Patty says after a while. Want to tell me what's really going on? And don't give me the sanitized version. I tell her everything. The birthday party revelation, the forged documents, the affair, the character assassination campaign. Patty listens without judgment, asking questions when she needs clarification. Jesus, Tom, that's sociopathic behavior. Which part? All of it. The systematic lying, the manipulation, turning your own mother against you. Normal people don't do that. So what do? You fight back, but smart, not angry. Document everything, build your case, and then destroy her credibility so completely that no one will ever believe another word she says. That sounds vindictive. It sounds like justice. She's been destroying your life for months. Time to return the favor. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. We need to talk. Meet me at Denny's on 5th Street. Come alone. Big Mike. Big Mike Torino, the gym owner, Natalie mentioned. This could be interesting. I have to go, I tell Patty. Can you stay with Mom? Of course. But, Tom, be careful. These people have already proven they're willing to play dirty. Denny's on 5th Street is the kind of place where truckers and night shift workers grab breakfast at odd hours. Big Mike is easy to spot. 6'4", probably 250, sitting in a corner booth with his back to the wall. He looks like he could bench press my car. Tom Grady? He stands and offers a hand that could crush walnuts. Mike Torino, thanks for coming. How'd you get my number? Natalie Holt, she said you might be interested in some information about Brandon. We order coffee and eggs, making small talk until the waitress moves out of earshot. Then Mike gets down to business. Brandon's been stealing from me for 8 months. Small amounts, cash from the register, membership fees that never got deposited. I've been documenting everything, waiting for the right moment to nail him. Why wait? Because I wanted to catch him red-handed, make sure the charges stick. But also because I liked the idea of him getting comfortable, thinking he was getting away with it. Mike slides a manila envelope across the table. Inside are photographs, bank statements, security camera screenshots, and a detailed timeline of Brandon's thefts. This is enough to send him to prison, I say. That's the idea. But there's more. Brandon's been using the gym's massage rooms for his affairs. Different women, always during off-peak hours when he thinks no one's watching. You have proof? Security cameras, client logs that don't match the schedule, even some audio recordings. The massage rooms are supposed to be for legitimate therapy, not hookups. This is gold. Not only is Brandon a thief, he's been using his employer's facilities for adultery, the kind of scandal that destroys careers and reputations. Why are you giving me this? I ask. Because Brandon's affair with your wife has been bad for business. Some of my female clients have complained about his behavior, said he makes them uncomfortable. I've been getting pressure to fire him, but I wanted to make sure he couldn't just move to another gym and start over. What do you want in return? Nothing from you. But when this all comes out, I want it clear that I cooperated with the investigation, that I was building a case against him. I run a legitimate business, and I don't want Brandon's problems reflecting on me. I study the documents more carefully. Bank records showing cash deposits that don't match the gym's books. Photos of Brandon pocketing money from the register. Security footage of him entering massage rooms with various women, including one that looks like Elise. This is enough to destroy him, I say. That's the idea. Question is, what are you going to do with it? Good question. I could turn it over to the police, let them handle the criminal charges. I could leak it to the media, let public humiliation do the work. Or I could use it as leverage, force Brandon and Elise to back down from their campaign against me. I need some time to think about it. Don't take too long. Brandon's getting suspicious, asking questions about the security cameras. If he figures out what I'm doing, he might destroy evidence or disappear. I shake Mike's hand and drive back to the hospital with my head spinning. In the space of 12 hours, I've gone from being the victim of a character assassination campaign to holding enough evidence to destroy both Brandon and Elise. The question is, what kind of man do I want to be? The nice guy who takes the high road and gets screwed over, or the guy who fights back with everything he's got? My mother is awake when I return to her room. The power of attorney paperwork is on her bedside table, signed and witnessed by 2 nurses. I fixed it, she says weakly. You're in charge now. Thanks, Mom. Tommy, I want you to know I'm proud of you for how you handled all this. A weaker man would have given up by now. Maybe she's right. Maybe I am stronger than I thought. Strong enough to take on Elise and Brandon and anyone else who wants to destroy my life. Strong enough to win. The plan comes together over the next 3 days while my mother recovers in the hospital. She's going to be fine. The heart attack was mild, more of a warning than a catastrophe, but it gave me time to think and plan without distractions. Elise has been calling constantly, leaving voicemails that range from apologetic to threatening. She knows something has shifted, that I'm not playing defense anymore. The last message was particularly revealing. Tom, we need to talk before this gets out of hand. There are things you don't understand, people who could get hurt if you keep pushing this. People who could get hurt. Like Brandon, whose theft and adultery are about to become public knowledge. Like Kelly, whose role in the character assassination campaign is well documented in text messages and social media posts. Like Elise herself, whose carefully constructed image as the wronged wife is about to crumble. The first domino falls on Thursday morning. I call the district attorney's office and arrange to meet with a prosecutor who specializes in white-collar crime. Her name is Sarah Chen, and she's built a reputation for going after criminals who think they're too smart to get caught. Theft from an employer, fraud, potentially tax evasion, if he didn't report the stolen money as income, she says after reviewing Mike's evidence. This is a solid case. When can you get the owner to come in and make a formal statement? Today, if you want. He's been waiting for this. And you're sure about your motives here? This isn't just revenge against the man who's sleeping with your wife? It's justice, I say. Brandon Holt is a criminal who's been stealing money and using his position to exploit women. The fact that he's also destroying my marriage is secondary. Chen nods. We'll need your testimony about the affair, the timeline, how you discovered the theft. You understand this will all become public record? I'm counting on it. The second domino is Brandon's gym license. It turns out that using business facilities for personal affairs violates several health department regulations, not to mention the terms of his professional certification. A few phone calls to the right regulatory agencies, along with Mike's security footage, and Brandon's career as a personal trainer is effectively over. The third domino is the most satisfying. I've been working with a private investigator named Jake Morrison, no relation to my boss, who specializes in digital forensics. He's the one who proved that my work computer was accessed remotely using stolen credentials, clearing me of the charges that got me suspended. But more importantly, he's traced the fake photos that convinced my mother I was having an affair. They were created using sophisticated software, but not sophisticated enough to fool a professional. The metadata shows they were created on a computer registered to Brandon's home address. This is criminal fraud, Morrison tells me over lunch at a restaurant downtown. Creating false evidence to support a defamation campaign. The FBI has prosecuted cases like this. How long would he go to prison? Depends on the extent of the damage, how many people were affected, but we're talking years, not months. I'm sitting in my car outside the gym where Brandon works, watching him train a middle-aged woman who's clearly infatuated with him. He's using the same routine I've seen him use on other women, standing too close, unnecessary physical contact, making her feel special and desired. It's predatory behavior disguised as professional service. My phone rings. Elise. Tom, I know what you're planning. Don't do this. Do what? Whatever you're planning with Mike Torino and that prosecutor, Brandon doesn't deserve to go to prison. Brandon's a thief and a fraud. Prison is exactly what he deserves. He made mistakes, but he's not a bad person. And if you destroy him, you destroy me too. Is that what you want? I want the truth to come out. Everything else is just consequences. What about Zoe? She needs stability, not parents who are at war with each other. Zoe will be fine. She's got a trust fund from her real father's life insurance, and she's young enough to adapt. What she doesn't need is to grow up thinking lies and manipulation are normal. Tom, please, I'm begging you. We can work something out, some kind of arrangement where everyone wins. Everyone wins? Like the arrangement where I raise another man's child while you screw around with a criminal? That kind of win-win situation? I never meant for it to happen like this. But you did mean for it to happen. You chose to lie, to forge documents, to destroy my reputation when I found out. These weren't mistakes, Elise. They were choices. I hang up and walk into the gym. Brandon sees me coming and says something to his client, who quickly gathers her things and leaves. We're alone in the weight room, surrounded by mirrors and machines that smell like sweat and desperation. Tom, Brandon tries to smile, but it doesn't reach his eyes. What brings you here? Thought you might want to know that the police are going to arrest you tomorrow morning. Theft, fraud, probably a few other charges. Mike's been building a case against you for months. Brandon's face goes white. That's impossible. I haven't stolen anything. Security cameras say otherwise. Bank records, witness statements, the whole package. You've been skimming cash for 8 months, and now everyone knows about it. You can't prove anything. I don't have to. The district attorney's office will handle that. I step closer, enjoying the fear in his eyes. But that's not even the best part. Want to know what else they found? Brandon doesn't answer, but he doesn't have to. I can see in his expression that he knows what's coming. The fake photos you created to turn my mother against me. Digital forensics traced them back to your computer. Creating false evidence to support a defamation campaign is a federal crime, Brandon. We're talking FBI, not local cops. That wasn't. Yes, you did. And yes, it was. You and Elise orchestrated a systematic campaign to destroy my reputation, my career, my relationship with my family. You thought you were so smart, but you left digital fingerprints all over everything. Brandon sinks onto a weight bench, his head in his hands. What do you want? I want you to understand that actions have consequences. You chose to steal money, to create fake evidence, to help my wife lie about my daughter's paternity. Now you get to live with the results. Tom, please, I've got kids of my own, an ex-wife who'll use this against me in custody court. If I go to prison, I lose everything. You should have thought about that before you decided to destroy my life. I turn to leave, then stop. Oh, and Brandon, you might want to call your ex-wife and warn her about what's coming. Natalie's been very helpful in building the case against you. Turns out she kept excellent records of your previous affairs and financial irregularities. The look of betrayal on Brandon's face is almost worth everything I've been through. Almost. The final confrontation happens at our house on Briarwood Lane. I use my key to let myself in. It's still legally my home until the divorce is final, and find Elise packing boxes in the living room. She looks up when I enter, her face streaked with tears. They arrested Brandon this morning, she says. I know. His bail is set at $50,000. I don't have that kind of money. Neither do I. And even if I did, I wouldn't use it to help a criminal. Elise sits on the couch we picked out together 3 years ago, surrounded by the life we built on lies and false promises. What happens now? Now you face the consequences of your choices. Brandon's going to prison. You're going to lose your job when the scandal breaks, and I'm going to rebuild my life without you. And Zoe? Zoe will be fine. She's got Dave's trust fund, and she'll grow up knowing the truth about her parentage. That's better than growing up with lies. Tom, I know I hurt you, but destroying everything won't bring back what we had. We never had anything real. It was all built on deception. I walk through the house one last time, collecting the few personal items I want to keep. Photos of Zoe, some books, a watch my father gave me before he died. Everything else can stay or go. I don't care anymore. Tom? Elise follows me to the front door. For what it's worth, I did love you. Maybe not the way you deserved, but I did love you. I know, I say. That's what makes this so sad. 6 months later, I'm sitting in a new apartment across town reading news articles about Brandon's sentencing. 3 years in federal prison for fraud and theft, plus restitution to the gym and several other victims who came forward after his arrest. His personal training license has been permanently revoked, and his ex-wife got full custody of their children. Elise pled guilty to conspiracy charges and got probation, but her career in public relations is over. No one wants to hire someone who's been convicted of helping to create fake evidence. She's working as a waitress now, living with her mother, trying to rebuild her reputation. My own reputation has been fully restored. The company not only gave me my job back, but promoted me to senior project manager. My mother has recovered from her heart attack and actually seems proud of how I handled the whole situation. Even some of our old friends have reached out, apologizing for believing the lies about me. I don't see Zoe anymore. Legally, I have no rights to a child who isn't mine, and Elise has made it clear that contact would be unwelcome. Sometimes I miss the little girl I thought was my daughter, but I'm learning to live with that loss. The doorbell rings, interrupting my thoughts. I'm not expecting anyone. But when I open the door, I find Natalie Holt standing on my doorstep with a bottle of wine and a nervous smile. I hope you don't mind me stopping by, she says. I wanted to thank you for what you did. Brandon's finally facing consequences for his actions, and that's partly because you had the courage to fight back. Come in, I say. I was just reading about his sentencing. 3 years. It's not enough, but it's something. She hands me the wine. I also wanted to tell you that I'm impressed by how you handled all this. A lot of men would have just rolled over and accepted it. I'm not a lot of men. No, you're not. We talk for hours, sharing stories about our respective divorces and the process of rebuilding after betrayal. Natalie is funny and intelligent and refreshingly honest about her own mistakes and regrets. When she finally leaves, she kisses me on the cheek and says, "Maybe we could have dinner sometime, when you're ready." Maybe we could. But first, I need to finish becoming the man I want to be. Someone who stands up for himself, who doesn't accept lies and manipulation, who fights back when people try to destroy his life. Someone who learned that sometimes the only way to win is to refuse to lose.